Welcome to the Municipality of South Dundas Council meeting for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I have a motion. Let it resolve that council rise and reconvene into open session at 6:06 p.m. and that council direct administration to carry out all actions as specified in the closed session minutes. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. Confirmation of the agenda. Any additions, deletion, or amendments to tonight's agenda? Councillor Smith.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Broad, I'm going to pull 10C, the pet bylaw, from consent and move it to discussion, please.
Okay. Any others? I have a motion. Let it resolve that council of municipality approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Number 4, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Seeing none tonight, we'll move to number 5, adoption of minutes. Any errors or omissions from the meeting minutes of July 16th? Seeing none, I have a motion. Let it resolve that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as presented, the July 16th regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay, delegations. So tonight we have another youth recognition, and I'll turn it over to Clerk LeBrun to introduce tonight's guest.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I would like to share the extraordinary story of someone who represents the very best of our community, Ishel. Her journey starts right here in South Dundas and has taken her to national recognition while never forgetting where she came from. As a valedictorian of Seaway District, with highlights, with the highest academic average across her all 4 years, Ishel earned some of Canada's most prestigious honors, including the TD National Scholarship for Community Leadership, awarded to only 20 students nationwide, and Queen's University Chancellor Scholarship given just to 48 students across the country. What truly sets Ishel apart isn't just her academic brilliance, but it's how she uses her talents to lift others up. Right here in South Dundas, she founded Girls in STEM, creating hands-on science programming for rural girls, recognizing that rural and first-generation students often face barriers accessing research opportunities. And she also founded Resinex, a national nonprofit now helping underrepresented students across Canada. Today, as a vice chair of Queen's University government, student government, overseeing $20 million in organization funds, Ishel demonstrates the leadership qualities that have helped nurture her here at home. Ishel's story provides a small community that small communities can produce leaders who change the world. She carries out values of hard work, community service, and looking out for neighbors wherever she goes. Ishel, we're very proud of you, not just for what you've achieved, but for how you've achieved it, always remembering where you came from. You represent the very best of South Dundas.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Ishel. It's great to see you again. Another warm night, like the high school graduation night. Your resume for youth is incredible, and just wanted to say South Dundas is really proud of you. And wherever the world takes you, this is always your home, and we'll welcome you back anytime. Any comments or questions from the team?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Broad. And yes, congratulations. I mean, I think this is awesome how you've done so well so far, and I'm sure you're going to do well, and you're doing well at Queen's, and you're going to rock that course, and probably less than what you should. Is it what, a 4-year course? 4-year course. I'm sure in 3 years you'll be done, but anyways, no, you know, I think it's astonishing. You went to Seaway, and you enjoyed Seaway. Absolutely. And, you know, you hear sometimes stories of, you know, Seaway should offer more programming, and Seaway should do this, and Seaway should do that. And you know, some students do choose other schools in the area, which is fine. That's their right to do that. But when you look at the success stories that have come out of Seaway, it's amazing. And there's no doubt that so far you're a success story, and you're going to be a future success story for Seaway, for South Dundas, and whatever you do. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. To that point, I always say wherever I go, you always make the best of what you have, and Seaway was the absolute time of my life, and I loved it. Same with South Dundas. It's probably why I keep coming back and doing more things. But thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Very good. Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So, Ishil, I've had the opportunity to work with you and see some of your work on the youth working group. So I'm so glad that you're still a part of that and contribute, even though you're not always here with us. I just wanted to say congratulations on all your achievements. I know it's really hard to get all of those things, and I can only imagine the amount of time and work you've put in to get that far. So congratulations. And to, is it your mom?
My sister.
Your sister? Well, to your parents. Sorry. Congratulations to them too. They've definitely raised a really bright individual. So happy to have you as part of our community.
Awesome. Anybody else? We're good. We're good. Well, we want to get a picture, and we have a certificate of your academic accomplishments proudly presented to Alicia Ali. You're a rising leader making a national impact. So thank you, and come on up, we'll get a picture. Okay, we're moving into 7A action requests. FS 2025-07 financial statements 2024. Treasurer Stewart.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Broad. The financial statements were presented to Council last meeting, July 16th, from Jimmy Pollock of MMP. As Council's aware, we do have investments with RSL. So since that last meeting and presentation of the financial statements, RSL have finalized their financial statements, and they have been approved by the Board of Directors. So with that, our financial statements have been adjusted a bit based on the results of their financial statements, which actually is good news because it did increase the investment by about, I think, 42,000. So that is the only change that is on our financial statements currently that are presented here. So with that, I guess ultimately we're asking Council to approve these draft financial statements so we can finalize 2024.
Very good. Thank you, Treasurer Stewart. And happy LSL continues to be a profitable investment for us. Any other questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, I have a motion that Council accepts report FS 2025-07 to approve the financial statements as presented by MNP LLP on July 16th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Vino, second by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Moving to 7B, TS 2025-08, construction change order request, Bath Road. Director Hyman is with us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So in front of you is a quick little CCO, or a construction change order request towards Council to add an additional road to our capital roads program for our thin lift overlay, the asphalt program. This road in particular is Bath Road. It's just north of Iroquois off of County Road 1. A little bit about this road. The main type of defect on this roadway is transverse cracking. So it's cracks going across the road, not running down the center line. This section of roadway is still structurally sound. By adding the overlay, it will seal up the roadway and extend the life before a major reconstruction is needed. This is a low risk to the municipality, as the contractor is already doing work for South Dundas. It's not a new contractor that's coming in, and it falls within our budget range that we budgeted for during our 2025 budgets. So 1.1 million was approved for capital paving. This budget also included culvert replacements, which I will tell you are completed at this time. all our capital work is, culvert work is completed, and shouldering activities. The budgeted cost for the paving alone was estimated at 1 million, which also included the shouldering. So Dundas received favorable paving pricing at a tendered cost of 826,000. Now that was through the counties, through a joint tendering with SD&G, where those prices came from. So the estimated cost for Bath Road is around the $62,000 mark, all in, and it's just strictly a phone call to Cornwall Gravel to say proceed following the outcome of tonight's budget. There was an estimated cost savings of $185,000 through the entire project for paving and for shouldering work versus what I budgeted at the start of the year versus pricing that was received. We had a favorable outcome of $185,000 to the good. So I can answer any questions which you may have at this time.
Yeah, no, thanks, Director, and appreciate cost savings be occurred and maybe potentially move ahead on some other projects and certainly extending the life early. I learned that from yourself and Director Hahn at the counties on spending money earlier extends the life by quite a bit. So if that's the case, then certainly could be something we could jump on. Councillor Smith?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Broad. So just a question for Manager Hyman. I drove that road a couple nights ago and it's horrific. What would you say, when would a road need a complete rebuild versus just doing like a couple layers over top?
So through you, Mayor Brown, to Councillor Smith. So in my opinion, and CAO DeHaan can definitely jump in here, for myself, it would be when we see transverse cracking, the road essentially blowing up, extreme potholes, losing the shoulder of the road. Then we've got a lot of different activities not working within our favor. Where this road here is still structurally sound, it just has the cracking. So they propose to do 2 thin lifts as skin to get rid of the cracking and a little bit of wheel rutting, and then put the 1-inch lift of asphalt over top to seal up that road completely. So if CAO DeHaan would like to offer more insight into it, those would be the determining factors for myself: extreme potholes, losing the shoulder, essentially pushing the road apart, away, and just seeing the road, the asphalt coming up from the roadway.
Okay. Another question is, there's no culverts on that road that have to be?
No, there's not in that section.
Yeah, so if we did go ahead and do it, like would we get like a full lifespan out of like 15 years out of that, or would it be maybe another 10, or what would it be?
I'm hoping this as a trial. This road is seeing extreme truck traffic, kind of the same as Vino's over here on Prospect. If this works on this section, then that could be a section over on Prospect that would do the job. So I'm definitely hoping to see at least 10 to 15 years of life. So that'd be 2 life cycles through, if we were to do an overlay at 7 years and then another one at another 7. I'm hoping to see 2 life cycles with doing this activity.
Yeah, okay. No, just because whenever I drove that road, I was just said to myself, like, this road is horrible, and I just want to make sure we weren't throwing good money after bad. We just end up having to rip the whole thing up in, say, 5 years from now anyway, or.
I hope not.
I hope not, okay. In terms of the money that was saved on the tender price, we still have not finalized the plan 100% as how we're, it just recommends putting it into the budget for next year's, for capital projects next year. We still haven't finalized how we're going to be paying for the Iroquois shopping mall renovations, I guess we'll call them. Could we just earmark that money to go over there, the extra, whatever it is, 100 whatever thousand to help pay for that, rather than just go into like the reserve? I don't know what anybody thinks about that.
Separate topic. We're talking about
There's a separate topic.
surplus money we haven't spent yet, so.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, of course.
Just a thought.
No, of course, and of course, Councillor Vino and I do declare on the interest of the mall, so.
True.
Makes it difficult for us to say how we would pay for that. Treasurer Stewart?
Through you, Mayor Broad, with the financing, how we're going to pay for the plaza, perhaps we can put some options together and bring it to council at the end of the year, because if we do finance, which we will be financing some, if not all, it would be towards the end of the year that we would be doing it, so we could bring some options to council at that time.
Yeah, options could also be to reduce potential tax increases for next year when of supply chain increases, CPI and wages, right? There's many ways we could be looking at that surplus money.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Broad. And to be honest with you, not specific to the mall, but I actually was kind of thinking we should not be spending the money and putting in reserves, and seeing how we land at the end of the year for budget and seeing what we can do with that money for next year by, as you said, Mayor Broad, reducing taxation or putting it into other projects. You mentioned the mall, and I know we're going left a little bit, but you mentioned the mall. We've got village streets that are horrible that need to be thoroughly addressed, and in my opinion, can't wait much longer. And I know we got that big funding application in, which is awesome. So I was at to be quite frank with you, my mindset was not to do anything further and put that money in reserves and save it. You know, that's where my mind was. A question for you, Jeff. Has it been recognized on any of the AC increases for 2025? Are we going to see any of that in the future? Is there going to be future bills for that, or is this secured amount and we won't see any AC index increases?
No, through you, Mayor Broad, to Deputy Mayor, no, AC is not included. The price you see is the price you see.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can they claim for AC
No.
increase?
No, as per the tender, it's not part of it.
Okay, thank you.
That's good.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Ward?
Can I just, sorry,
Yeah.
through you,
Yeah.
Mayor, to the director, where is Bath Road on the roads needs study, just out of curiosity?
So it's one that hasn't been identified. It's just letting it run its course because it's true asphalt. It's not a double surface treated road. So it's just letting it run its course. Minimal potholes. It's the transverse cracking. So it's always like a banging on your vehicle. So this is just an easy way, a quick way of sealing it up and not having to address it for the next 10 years, 10, 14 years. But we will have a new roads need study this fall, hopefully. It will be completed.
Councilor Smith? And it'll be on the list, of course. It might be at the top, right?
Yeah, just a question on the pricing. Where did we fall in, like, I guess you'd say like the per kilometer or the per meter, however you want to measure it, pricing, say now versus where we were last year versus pre-COVID? How much of a savings did we see?
So through your Mayor Broad, pricing this year was lower than last year for lane kilometer. I budgeted, where's my amount here? So at budget time, I budgeted for, I'll just give Muttonville Road as an example, $170 a ton, and it came in at like $115 a ton. So it was, companies were looking for work and they just priced it right. So that's kind of where the surplus monies are coming from what I budgeted, presented at budget time to prices received.
Yeah, so we're basically almost down, you could say we're almost maybe down to like pre-COVID levels on price of asphalt, or pretty close to it, with give or take a bit.
It's up a little bit higher,
Yeah.
but year
It's-
over year,
it was a
like
good
from
price.
last year to this year, I'm lower.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we saw the same at the county's level on all the tenders that we received as well, so that was good. Straw vote, do we want to move ahead with this road or save the money?
Mayor Rod, I would support it just because I think if we don't do it now, it's gonna cost us more later. Rarely, I know Director Hyman just said that asphalt prices have decreased, but I think that's a rarity. I don't wanna take the gamble. I think it's a good price, and if the road needs to be done, it'll still need to be done next year and the year after, so, that's my theory.
You're good with what? My theory is we should save the money.
Okay, so, I have a. Yep. So I have a motion, the Council Municipality of South Dundas authorize the Director of Transportation to approve a change order under the hot mix paving contract with Cornwall Gravel Company for the installation of a double scratch pad complete with a 25 millimeter thin lift of asphalt in the amount of $61,100 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. In favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Seven C, PE 2025-12 Dutch Meadows subdivision draft plan approval extension requests. Director Moore, or Planner Moore, thank you. Director of Planning for South Dundas, Stephanie Moore.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. So the report before you this evening requests council support of a 2-year extension for the Dutch Meadows subdivision draft plan approval. So that's the approval for the entire development of the subdivision, which currently lapses on October 18th, 2025. Swank Construction has made significant progress with phase 1 being nearly built out. And with the 7 new lots on block 31 being close to final approval, the extension will allow time for the applicant to continue to complete work and prepare for phase 2 while adapting to the market changes. The extension process allows municipal councils to ensure that the approved draft plan continues to align with their vision of growth for the municipality.
Questions or comments, Councillor T? Seeing none, I have a motion that council supports a 2-year extension for the Dutch Meadows subdivision, STG file number 01 SDS 2018, which lapses on October 18th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. Seven D, PE 2025-13 Parkland fees. Consent number B 2024. Ms. Moran.
So this report asks council to consider waiving parkland fees for consent applications B 2024 and B 78 2025, which together create 2 additional residential lots. So through the severance process, the applicant has secured and is transferring legal title of the Dr. Stevens Drive 20-meter right-of-way to the municipality at no cost. So this will provide legal access and standard right-of-way width to Lakeshore Drive for all of the residential dwellings on Dr. Stevens Drive. It's basically resolving a long-standing access issue related to Dr. Stevens Drive, which is considered a forest road legally due to the municipality's continued maintenance over the years. So in recognition of the applicant's efforts and expenses to secure public access, staff recommend waiving the associated parkland fees.
Questions, comments? Deputy Mayor?
I'll try. Just a question for you. On the right-of-way, does it just end at the limit of the property, or does it go more towards the west? Because I see there's kind of a sliver. It's hard to kind of tell from your plan, but it looks like there's a sliver of property that I'm just wondering if the right-of-way extends all the way to the existing houses, or is it just to the proposed area in blue?
So the
Pink
right-of-way
and blue.
extends all the way to the existing houses. There's just one sort of sliver directly west of the subject property on the south side
Yes.
that will be continued to be owned by the private landowner.
Okay, so then it does technically stop at the limit of this development.
No, so it does go all the way down. It's just the south portion. I guess the road is not centered.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Yeah.
they actually own further south than
Understood.
that 20-meter right-of-way.
Okay, understood. But clearly, the developer needs the right of way, correct? I mean, they could have done an easement, but they need the right of way.
They could do an easement, and that would be a perfectly acceptable way for them to clear the conditions for the severance.
Yeah, correct. Okay. I guess in my opinion, if a developer's coming in and they want the municipal right of way, I don't think that should be an excuse to waive any fees. I think they're building and they can afford to build, then they can afford the parkland fees as well. Like, I don't think there should be, just because we're getting this, that we should waive it. They're the ones building, not the municipality. They're the ones who wants the frontage, not the municipality. So in my opinion, I think we shouldn't waive the park fees.
Councilor Vino?
So they gave us some, I'm just trying to clear this in my head. So they gave us some property to solve a longstanding issue of not having a big enough right of way? Is that,
So,
what was the issue, I guess?
so through you, Mr. Mayor. So it's been on our radar, and even I was dealing with Ben when he was the director at the county on the legal state of Dr. Stevens Drive. We've recently paved it. We've been maintaining it for years. We had gotten a legal opinion that the actual road bed itself is owned by the municipality, but we don't actually have any legal rights to anything on either side, which is where we store our snow, where we direct some of our drainage. So this has been something that has been, I would say, 4 or 5 years on our radar of something that is important to the municipality to own the proper right-of-way width. And it just so happens that through this process, this is how we've come to be receiving those lands, or through this agreement.
Councilor Ward?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, to the planner. Have we ever done this before for any other planning application where we've waived the parkland fees because we're getting a right-of-way?
Not through you, Mr. Mayor, not that I am aware of. I think, no, not that I can think of. I think also important to consider are some sort of immeasurable impacts to what the municipality, like if the municipality were to try to receive this land, there are definitely some immeasurable impacts that maybe aren't quantifiable, that are also sort of important to consider.
Seal Don?
Yeah, thank you. And if I may, and ultimately it's up to council, and this is coming as a staff recommendation. At some point I'm going to stop saying my experience in transportation, but my experience in transportation, this is, and we could, even while I was employed at ST&G, ultimately, like the municipality needs to acquire this right of way, like from the overall benefit to the municipality, the investments we're putting into it, the liability associated with what may or may not happen on the road or right adjacent to the roadway. It makes complete sense that the municipality have full legal ownership of a 20-meter right of way, which is the standard right of way. As Ms. Morey had identified, the owner could have pursued an easement, in which case, like, we have zero benefit as a municipality. They clear their conditions and off we go. It was never you get this and we get this arrangement, but we do know that the owner to acquire the right of way, and not just the frontage of their property, which is really all they needed to do to satisfy their conditions. They've acquired the right of way on behalf of the municipality right to the end, solving a long-standing or future issue for us at a much greater expense than we would have recouped or that we'd have to put out in the future to be able to resolve this matter. So at the end result, we have a full 20-meter right-of-way, complete legal ownership of it. This is completely resolved, cleared. Future development, whether that happens in that area or not, is so much easier because the municipality owns it. It's obviously high value to the area there. So we've kind of, at this point, I'd say by working and getting to this point, we've paved the way for future success as well as resolve future headaches. So we see it as as a way to participate in this, but ultimately, again, it's up to council if they feel that it's appropriate or not, and I can appreciate both sides. This is why we have these discussions, for sure.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying on that. Councilor Smith?
So through you, Mayor Broad, so this is for the planner. Does the value of the land that we are receiving exceed the value of the parkland fees that we would be receiving?
Yes.
Yes.
significantly, yes,
By a lot or by a little?
by a lot.
By a lot, okay.
Yeah, no, and I think we've had challenges, as Ms. Moore has mentioned. We've seen other applications for this property trying to be sorted out that we could never sort out in the past. So it's a good opportunity to get this sorted out for sure. Any further comments, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, how long have Dr. Stevens Drive been in existence and been operating as is? 60 years, 70 years, 80 years? And this has never been an urgent matter up until now. I just don't like the fact that we keep deferring and we keep saying to developers and others, well, we're not going to collect this fee or collect that fee, because ultimately everybody else in the municipality has to pay for that. We have parkland fees that's associated with development, and I just believe they should be paying their parkland fees if they're going to develop the property, because it goes towards our parks.
Any other comments? All right, I have a motion. The Council of the Municipality of South Dundas waive parkland fees associated with the consent agenda B 2024 and B 78 2025. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? 3, 4, opposed? Carried. Okay, 7E, TS 2509, Concrete Grinding Tender Award. TS 2505, Director Hyman.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So in front of you, you'll find the results of the concrete grinding tender, which was published through bids and tenders. We had 2 applicants, both being from Western Ontario, one for $37,235 and the other one for $100,000 plus HST. What's happening here is there's a large pile of concrete at the landfill that needs to be broken down. It's there, we can't do anything with it. This RFQ was issued for a company to come in and to pulverize it, break it down into 4-inch pieces that we can use for the top of the landfill as cover, for the base of a transfer station. There's numerous things that we can use it for. When this report was put into eScribe last Friday, I did not have the opportunity to reach out to the references. I have since done that yesterday, and they came back with positive feedback from for Creekside. They're punctual, they're on time, they completed the project as it was quoted in past projects, and they're open for new ideas and easy to communicate with. So kind of key contributors that you're looking to hear about when I've never, when the municipality has never worked with Creekside Excavation. So at this point, there was $40,000 budgeted for this project, and this project came in under budget at $37,235. So I can answer any questions which you have at this time.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, a motion, let it resolve that Council of the Municipality of South Dundas award tender TS 2505 for concrete grinding at the Patil landfill to Creekside Excavation Inc. in the amount of $37,235 plus HST, and that the clerk and the director of transportation be authorized to sign all necessary documents to give effect to the contract. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving to bylaws. Number 8A, 2025-62 sewer use bylaw. Director DeHaan. Director
Thank you.
Villeneuve.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll start, and certainly any questions related to the sewers, we have Director Villeneuve here to help out. Ultimately, we've incorporated some of the feedback received over the last couple of meetings, so I won't spend much time on this unless there's any specific questions. We're hopeful that council favorably receives this bylaw, and we look forward to implementing it with council's direction.
Questions, comments? Seeing none. Motion, let it resolve the Council of South Dundas to adopt bylaw 2025-62, being a bylaw to regulate discharges to the sanitary and stormwater sewer systems. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. 8B, 2025-63, appointment of bylaw officer Chase Crothwaite. Clerk LeBrun.
Thank you, Mayor Broad, and through you to council. So this is a bylaw officially appointing our new CBO officer, Chase Crothwaite, as a bylaw officer, enforcement officer for the municipality of South Dundas, and we will be providing him with a certified copy of this bylaw to hang on his wall in his office.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I do know that if you see the planning group or the bylaw officer, they are in South Dundas attire, or they do have identification. So if you see them out and about, they will identify themselves. So questions, comments? Okay, I have a bylaw, let it resolved that the bylaw 2025-63 being a bylaw to appoint Chase Crothwaite as bylaw enforcement officer for the South Dundas be read, signed and sealed in open council this 13th day of August 2025. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. And 8C, 2025-64 Dutch Meadows Phase 2 Red Line Edit Subdivision Agreement. Ms. Moran.
Thank you. So this report asks council to adopt bylaw 2025-64, a bylaw to re-execute the amended subdivision agreement with Swank Construction for the Dutch Meadows 7-lot development. So this is strictly a technical, legal administrative change. The registry office is pretty picky, but there are no changes to the intent or content of the agreement that was previously approved on June 23rd.
Comments, questions? Seeing none, I have a motion to resolve the Council of South Dundas adopts bylaw 2025-63, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2021-71 to execute an amended subdivision agreement with Swank Construction, and the mayor and clerk hereby authorized to execute all documents required to effectively carry out this agreement, and that Council of South Dundas direct staff to clear the municipal conditions outlined in the subdivision application number 01 SDS 2023 Red Line Edit with the Corporation of the United Counties, Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, and that bylaw 2025-54 repealed in its entirety. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay, boards and committees. I did have a RSL meeting, as Treasurer Stewart has indicated. We approved the distribution of profits, so that's been now included in our revenues for 2024. Just updates from the meeting, just on developments. Prescott Long-Term Care Home extensions are complete. There's some expansion in Prescott, Polymer. Obviously, Iroquois starting to come online. They'll start be installing transformers. And Safavia has this transformer now, so that's up and going. We've done a capacity study. Iroquois is working from one distribution station, so that's high on our priority list to add another distribution center in Iroquois. So we'll have details in the future on that. Cardinal expansion, and then of course Morrisburg 5 years out. And we did review and finalize the 2024 financials, and we passed that on. So those are the highlights from our board meeting. Oh, and we did welcome a new director, Jackie Baird. She takes over for G, who was representing Fortis as one of our board of directors. So that was her first meeting. So the next meeting is actually the AGM. It's open to all of us. We're all the shareholders. CEO DeHaan and I will be attending for sure. That's in Westport on September the 4th. And then in 2026, we'll be the host for the AGM for Rideau St. Lawrence Utilities. So that's coming up. And they did celebrate, after the meeting, we did celebrate 25 years of RSL. So it's been 25 years since the corporation was started, and we welcomed back quite a few retired employees. So it was a few Morrisburg, Iroquois folks who were at the celebration. So it was good to catch up with them. So. And that's all I have. Was there any other, obviously July, probably not 1st of August, not many other board meetings happening. So seeing that. Yep, everything kind of starts back up next week. Okay, consent agenda 10A, the 2025 variance report to July 31st. B, Iroquois waterfront, approved usage. D, resolution City of St. Catharines, elect respect pledge. E, resolution Town of Kingsville, opposition to Bill 17, Protect Ontario Building Faster Act. F, resolution Village of Burkes Falls, opposition to the proposed installation of a battery energy storage system. G, letter of Municipality of Tweed, pressing challenges facing small rural and northern communities. And H, resolution North Fork Bill C2 and proceeds of the crime, money laundering. Excluded was 10C, as we're going to discuss that under discussion. So I have a motion, let it resolve that all the items under consent agenda be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're moving to discussion items. So we'll start with 11A, KR development charges. Follow up next steps. Director Don and Ms. Moran.
Thank you, Council. A little bit easier to kind of sit together here and discuss this one. So we'll try and keep it relatively brief. It's a lot of the information is contained within the report, but ultimately what we wanted to, we don't want to let this drop off the radar and we want to continue to move forward. One of the things we're prioritizing and want to bring back to Council is finally getting this study done. Ultimately, getting the study done doesn't mean we need to pass a bylaw and implement development charges, but rather we kind of get to a point where we can say, yeah, we've checked the box, we've got the study done. The last meeting we had, some of the feedback we received is that Council wanted to have a more in-depth discussion with respect to the projects and the rationale for some of the projects identified in the study, and then make some determinations whether, from Council's perspective, they should be included versus excluded, and then from there we kind of recalculate what that overall development fee would be. Key takeaway really from a staff perspective, and I wanted to reiterate it to make sure that it aligns with Council's direction, is that we want to make sure we have an appropriate amount of funds to maintain existing infrastructure, invest in our existing infrastructure, offset the cost of things that we genuinely believe as a Council staff are growth related, balancing that with competitiveness amongst our neighbors. So in that vein, and interestingly, since we last spoke with this, we've been able to liaise with the provincial government representatives. We know, I think our Council, it comes as no shock to Council that the provincial government certainly has concerns with the levels of development charges that are held by some of the larger municipalities within Ontario, and how those funds are being kind of used but not directed towards building homes and being able and being ready to build homes. Other things as we started to go through and kind of move forward with our next steps, we started to talk at a staff level about all of the costs that are associated with development, because it was very clear to us, Council wants to make sure we're recovering costs. We don't want to be necessarily losing money on the things we do. So we, in paragraph 5 of the report, it kind of talks about some of those things that currently make up the charges that are associated with the overall cost of development, and it also depends on where you're located, whether you need to consult with South Nation, whether there is a water sewer connection, things like that. But ultimately, what if we started to break it down a little bit further within the municipality, one of the things that we identified was certainly if we wanted to look at cost recovery, making sure we're cost recovering from a development perspective, step number one is likely going back and making sure we're well aligned from a building permit fee perspective, and that it aligns with Council's vision of that. Table 1 that's in the report after paragraph 6 of the report does identify just overall permit building revenues that are brought into the municipality versus the expenses we're putting out there, what that net looks like. If you add it all up, it's actually relatively cost neutral, save and except for we're about $30,000 over the last 5 years in the red. But one thing I do want to point out for Council's information is that we do have in 2024 pretty high revenue that essentially is a little bit artificially inflated because it's associated with one large residential permit that we issued. And that's not to say that there isn't a significant expense to review that permit. But if we actually started to, like when you look at that cost, which was approximately $170,000 in revenue for that permit, and compare it to the average cost for a single family dwelling, which is about $1,800. And again, it depends on circumstances and whatnot. So if, had that permit not come in, we'd be telling a very different story. So excluding that permit from the statistics, over the last 5 years, we're at a loss of about $200 per permit. And over the last 5 years, about 1,000 permits have been issued. So relatively simple math in terms of where that looks. And it's not intended, I don't think in a perfect world, we're obviously recovering all our costs, but we can't predict. We can somewhat predict, but we can't control the number of permits that come into the office. So there is, the intention is to be cost neutral with building permit fees. How it's managed in highly complex municipalities with a significant amount of variation is that they'll often use things like building department reserves to try and fund between the highs and lows of different years. That's not something that we've historically done here. Ultimately, the other thing too is when we look at building permit fees, they haven't been increased since 2019. So that's pre-pandemic levels of where when the last time we looked at building permit fees. So recommendation that we're suggesting to council, and this is, there's multiple elements to this report, but, we're going to continue to push forward with the development charges study and the information requested by council. But we also think it's important to prioritize, if council agrees, looking at building permit costs just to strive towards a better cost neutral structure within that department. And that's something that, if we can kind of work on that between now and year's end, then we can well position ourselves going forward. Again, ultimately, all these things are up to council if they want us to pursue that or if they want to actually initiate any changes there. But it is something we think would be valued, just given some of the discussions we've had around development charges and making sure we're recovering our costs and doing things that don't cost the overall tax base for a development that may be occurring. So I don't know if, Mr. Mayor, you want me to stop there and get some input just on that item alone or continue through the report and get input on everything at the end.
Yeah, we can continue.
Okay.
Yep.
Water sewer connection fees, again, just a little bit of the history of water sewer connection fees, which I'm sure council has some awareness of. They were started in 2008, 2009. The fee of $5,000 each was implemented again in 2019. So we're quite, they are pre-pandemic fees that were implemented. If we kind of backed up, and this is something we looked at, if we backed up and looking at consumer price index increases since 2019, for the $5,000 fee that we started charging then would now be about $6,100. So just inflation alone, and of course we've seen a lot of it in the cost of doing construction and work. That fee actually should be increased. So again, in terms of what we're recommending. We talked about water and sewer connection fees as it relates to development charges, but I think council was attuned to the fact that if that's something that's included in the development charges study and bylaw, then it starts to limit how you can spend that money because there are parameters, and rightfully so, associated with development charge expenditures. So from staff's perspective, we do think we're strategically sound in we keep our water sewer connection fees, look at that our rate as a whole, but not include that in the development charges study, kind of look at that separate too. So that makes sure that we have full flexibility to invest in existing infrastructure that ultimately does support the future growth that we're seeing. So the recommendation is kind of twofold with this one. Look at, if council is if it's something that council would like to entertain, look at adjusting connection fees to account for inflation since 2019. And there's, from what the treasurer and I have reviewed, there's nothing that prevents us from being able to implement that. And then also look at updating the water rate study. And timing is good for that. We talked about multi-dwelling units. We've talked in how that fee structure looked, and we have some pretty interesting development and significant development occurring with St. Lawrence Park Commission and some potential other connections coming down the line. So it's a good opportunity as we see the interest in expanding our water and wastewater systems to make sure that our rates align with kind of how the future looks for that. So that's a blended recommendation for water and sewer. When it comes to planning fees, civic address fees, entrance fees that are associated with development applications, planning fees were reviewed in 2024. No major discrepancies noted then, so staff feel very comfortable with that. Civic addressing fees, entrance fees, not deemed a priority at this time. If you're asking us where we should be kind of making sure we're focusing our efforts, it wouldn't be there. So, like I said, we want to continue working on the development charges study. We suggest, if council agrees, start reviewing our building permit fees and try and get that to council. And then ultimately also look at water sewer connection fees. So start with a CPI increase so that we can get those aligned with the 2019 rate to where we are in 2025. And then look at 2026 budget to actually update our rates based on a full study and include things like the St. Lawrence Parks Commission and multi-dwelling units and things like that. So hope I've covered the report well. And Stephanie, anything else to add before we?
Yeah, no, I think you captured it well. I think overall, what we heard from some of our last meetings have been, what does it cost to build in South Dundas? And I think at the end of the day, what we often don't consider is the overall bill that they get when they get their building permit. And these things all make up the cost of what it costs to build in South Dundas. And so that's sort of where we kind of came from in looking at to make sure that we are the most cost recovery before council feels that they should be considering entering into a development charges bylaw.
Cool. Well, thank you, CEO Don and Ms. Bourne. Yeah, so even just reflecting, I know you mentioned, speak with the ministers, and we did get to spend some time with Minister Flack, Municipal Affairs and Housing, after we opened up the Morris Glen, and we had some really fruitful conversations. And, when we talk about, in the province, how there's literally billions of dollars in reserves and DC charges, they should be out there, that money should be working, right, and developing and being used. So that was really interesting. But, really the object is housing starts, right? And what's the right thing for us, but what's the thing to make sure we have housing starts and not prohibit industrial, commercial starts, right? How do we recruit the right amount of cash from a development to making sure we don't prevent development, right? And we are, in a crisis in Ontario in housing. Every area has a different crisis level for sure. So we got to continue to think about that. I mean, and Deputy Mayor said it earlier, right? We only create the conditions for developers, right? We don't do the building, right? We create the conditions, and I'm just not quite sure we've figured out. And I think that's why we keep asking the question, is like, having development charges, they're strategic, but I don't know if we're strategic on how we would spend it, right? And I think that's why the questions keep coming up. So I think that's good that we keep doing that. I really like ideas of fees and then link to CPI, because that just keeps it rolling, right? There's never a big increase, right? So I think as we think about that, and we've been doing that with other departments, right? Thinking about user fees on certain things. We've been just, if it's $5 or $10, we add CPI, it's $5.10, $5.20, right? And we don't have to, make a big jump after 10 years of not doing anything. So I really, really like that strategy. How do we create the environment where we have builds, right? That's, I think, our one of our big objectives. And I think it's great you keep on thinking about these and keep taking our feedback and keep working through that. So just wanted to shoot that out there to start. So, Councillor?
Thanks, Mayor. So I just have a few comments about the items, and I'll just kind of go in order. So for the development charges study, when it comes back in September, if I could ask staff to also put in a table that shows how much it costs to build a standard single-family detached home with just our permit fees. And you can base it off of what the average square footage is. I know it varies. And then I'd also like to see for multi-res, and then also for industrial and commercial. Just so we have an understanding as council what that looks like. So if you want to build a house versus you want to build a warehouse, what is the overall cost? And then what
current state.
Yes, current, like
current,
to
so
date.
today's price is exactly what it is today.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah. So 2025 fees, and then also like in that table you could include that the additional development charges rate that was discussed. I think that would just provide us with a little bit more of like, this is the total cost to build a single family detached, and then if we add more, this is the total cost for everything. One of the other points I just want to be clear on from my perspective for development charges, I want to make sure we're not double dipping in terms of if you are a subdivision and you are subdividing land and there's, money in lieu of parkland, or there's the donation of parkland, I want to make sure we're not also putting parkland into that. I don't think that we should also be charging for parkland in that development charge, for example, because if that money is already coming through from that subdivision, I'm not really sure that it should capture that. And there's probably a few other areas where we see that. And if I could ask a question, actually, I was thinking about this on the weekend. If a developer comes in, builds a subdivision, like in Iroquois, puts in the infrastructure, puts in the road, the development charges on each lot is to pay back who? So like the money, so the developer has paid for all those assets. So the development charges we're getting back for those assets are to pay the municipality for the future maintenance of that. So
They would be therefore future growth, right?
They're for future growth.
So for example, simple example I keep using is like 300 families moved to Iroquois and we
Yeah.
need a second arena.
Right.
The developer charges pay for the second arena,
Right.
not fix the arena we have, right?
So I
It's a-
think that information needs to be clear, and I understand
Yeah.
that, but I think a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of people
Well-
don't understand that. So I think if that could just be included for just clarity, because I think a lot of residents that I've talked to think that the developer is paying and then we're charging also for that. Do you understand? Like if they're
Yeah, no,
building
exactly.
a
and
road,
that-
then
and
we're
that-
charging them for that road?
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what my sentence was. DC needs to be used strategically. I'm not sure we're there yet. Like, what's our strategic plan, right? I even looked through our strategic plan of all our line items to say, what is that strategy, right? So I think that's exactly part of the conversation. And Deputy Mayor last meeting called it, well, a few items on that list. Well, do we need a splash pad in that area or not? Like that was, it's not a wish list or a need to have from a development charge. That was just a couple of examples. So, yeah.
And then with the building permit fees, I think that's a great plan. I fully support that. I think that having a reserve is the way to go. I think a lot of other municipalities already do that, so that would be great. And then water sewer connection fees, I did have one question. When is our drinking water works permit license up for renewal?
Mayor Broad, we just renewed it this year, so it'd be 5 more years.
So if we did a financial rate adjustment this year, then it would kind of be out of a line,
It would-
right?
yes, yeah.
So could we just look at capital charges instead of the rate? Because then in 5 years, you're gonna have to do another rate study. I'm just suggesting that maybe you just look at capital charges now and look at the rate, because you would have just looked at the rate, correct?
Correct.
So if you're paying again, just a suggestion, and in my opinion, I think you could just look at capital for now and leave the rate until you go to redo your long-term financial plan for water sewer. Just
Okay,
to
yeah,
save
yeah,
you,
for sure.
to save the municipality a little bit of money. But I have no issue with the CPI component. And that's all the comments I have.
Anybody else want to discuss the topic at hand? CO Don?
And sorry, and I should very, very much clarify, my, my brain had September 24th still as a council meeting. The next meeting, like, we have a meeting September 10th, and I'm going off of my memory, which is what killed me this one. But, so the report is incorrect. It's going to be the October 1st meeting that would come back.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that detailed report. 11B, KR burn permit bylaw follow-up discussion. Fire Chief, Director of Fire Services, Jeremy Eldred Hughes.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor, and to council. Under council's direction of the last meeting, we were reviewing our burn bylaw and just coming back with some statistics and things that have been going on in the fire services this year. I'll actually just start with a couple of statistics. So our new statistics for July will be out tomorrow, but June we responded to 31 incidences. Last month we responded to 44, and we're already at 23 for August. So we're ahead by about 60 calls versus this time last year, so fire services have been busy. Part of that is responding to burn complaints. last year we had, I said over 15. Before we had first due, we didn't really have a way of tracking and reporting everything. This year we've had, on the report here, it says 3. We actually just received another one, so we've had 4. Total permits, as you can see in the chart, there's one clerical error I just noticed. It's not 544 agricultural permits, it's 144. And all these permits have been acquired through first due. So that's the first part of our burning bylaw is the permits, of course, but where we've realized that we may have missed the mark was in some of our communications with residents on how to report burning concerns and what that process looks like. So in moving forward, we've created a communications plan where we've been doing some social media posting, reminding residents how to get permits, where to get permits, and just how to report concerns both during and after hours. Some of the other feedback we received from some community members were some suggestions such as increasing our set fines for first, second, third offenses. These fines were originally set up with the thought of the recreational burn. So that's where the bulk of our historical complaints have come from, and that's where the bulk of our permits have come from. As you see in the chart there, we have over 1,000 of those and only 144 of the agricultural. We have not had to issue any fines yet this year. And as I said, we've only had the 4 total complaints. One of the things we did recently, in addition with our communications plan, is we're upgrading all of our burn ban signs. We have new fire danger rating signs coming. And we had some really positive feedback from the community when we posted our fire danger rating and gave the community that heads up that we're coming to a fire ban, so expect it. And then through the new First Due platform, we got a lot of positive feedback again because a lot of residents received their text and email notifications when the fire bans went on. So overall, that's kind of been our strategy right now moving forward is the communicating more with the residents and making sure that they have the tools that they need.
Yeah, the communication side, one of the things, I know you haven't forgotten, but obviously media, so the Mooresburg Leader, and through the Stressful Record, obviously, and then the minute by minute when we do our mailings as well, right? We could add in more information at those times too, right? So I think those are 2 other areas that I know you've thought about and we've talked about, but just reminding is those are areas that we definitely want to promote communication through as well.
Absolutely.
Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So I think this is what we were looking for, or what I was looking for, based on the feedback. And CAO DeHaan was kind enough to join me in a meeting with a resident that experienced some hardship due to some burning challenges. So I think it's a good synopsis of what's going on. I think the feedback that I would like to see moving forward, if I may, Mayor, share that, is if you are burning close to another property line or outside of that setback. Currently, our permit system is just like a checkbox, and we had discussed that. Like, it's an online system, check, check, check. Doesn't necessarily mean anyone's actually reading it or actually following it. So I do think that, to your point, it'd be really nice if the fire department kind of followed up on situations where there's large ag fires happening in rural residential hamlets, especially when they're adjacent to property lines, to make sure those property owners are okay with that farmer getting so close to that setback. I think that's just something that we miss, and it's not something that happens every day, but unfortunately it caused some undue hardship to this individual. So something I think we could maybe roll out in the future. Or maybe if it's, instead of a checkbox, it's a requirement for them to send a signature from the property owner to allow that reduction in setback. That way the property owner is acknowledging it. I'm not sure, I'm also looking for the rest of council's feedback on those thoughts. But yeah, so that's my kind of.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, that's one of the things we're looking for and striving for in our next round of burn permit issues in 2026. Because we see every permit that comes through, once we start reaching our burning season, sending out those mass emails and stuff that we now have the ability to do, that's giving those agricultural burns reminders of setbacks and that sort of thing. And when it's appropriate, because we of course can't check every property, we just don't have the staffing for it. But you know, when we see these piles starting and stuff, reaching out with the landowners and making those connections, and also working with the DFA to make sure that communications are being both sent and received.
Other questions or comments for Fire Chief? No, thanks. Oh, sorry, Councillor Smith, yeah.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Brown, I just was looking through the incident that happened with the complaint with the agricultural fire. It was some of the feedback that was given was allowing the wood that were in the pile. I'm assuming it was piles. I don't know where it was. It just, like, you know, somebody cleared a fence line or bush, whatever it was, and it said that the wood should be dried for a year before being burned. I don't know if that was actually going to go into a bylaw or not, or if that was just a comment or suggestion, but I was just thinking a year might be pretty excessive. Maybe something could be burnable within, I'd say, 3 months. The big thing is trying to avoid burning it when it's green, because that's when you get all your smoke and stuff like that. So what would your thoughts be on that?
Chief?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, right now I think you could get away with 6 weeks. It's so dry. But no, the standard practice that we've seen is that landowners are doing their clearing and letting it sit through the fall, winter, and then they do a little bit of cleanup in the spring, and by then it's typically very dry. Where we see there's increased smoke conditions and stuff is when they really start mixing it with like dirty stumps where there's still a lot of dirt and stuff on the roots. But again, it's unfortunate what happened. It's not something that we're running into consistently, and we'll continue to work with landowners and the community to try and mitigate that.
Cool, very good. Thanks, Chief. Okay, 11C, KR Streetlight Survey Results. Director Hyman.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So in front of you, you'll find the results of the streetlight survey, which was issued to the municipality of South Dundas residents, and what maybe next steps will look like from the results of the survey. So on March 19th, I presented during a committee of the whole meeting 2 locations for streetlight where residents have contacted either myself or a council member about a streetlight concern. One would be on Marcellus Road in Belks Hill, and the other one in Mariatown. So this recent survey was issued, and we received feedback from 83 participants, some long-term residents, meaning having lived in South Dundas for 10 plus years, and new residents to the area. So the community has demonstrated community engagement through a comprehensive streetlight survey, providing valuable insight that will guide improvements to enhance neighborhood safety and livability. So the majority of the residents' feedbacks for their neighborhoods after dark with current lighting conditions representing significant public safety issues. And there's a box of them, or a nice graph of the locations, the issue, and what would need to be done to rectify that problem. Some of these areas have been repaired, like College Street, the lights have been repaired in that area, but other ones are Lakeshore Drive. The spans, as per our subdivision design manual, are that streetlights cannot exceed 70 or should not exceed 75 meters in distance between light pole to light pole. There are locations, there's lots of locations where they are greater than that. Lakeshore Drive, Golf Club Road was another concern brought through the survey. Poles and streetlight heads or solar heads would be needed. Dr. Miller, same thing. Dr. Miller is more of a rural road that connects Golf Club Road to Highway 2. The Iroquois Plaza is being addressed through the upgrades. Bridlewood Court, there is streetlights in that area, but the sections between corner to corner are greater than 75 meters. One in Glen Stewart, which would be to supply lights for a park, and Farlingener Avenue. There's numerous other roads within our municipality where the lighting is greater than 75 meters, but roads in towns, Morrisburg, Iroquois, they do have streetlights on the roads. So residents express mixed views on additional lighting with some concerns about environmental impacts, light pollution, and disruption to natural daytime or nighttime environment. So where do we go from here? So option one is current service level, which would be status quo, just kind of maintaining what we have, repair with what we have, and continue on. And option two would be an enhanced level of service, which would be adding new lights through the municipality in areas of concern. So what I guess I'm looking for, or what staff is looking for, is direction from council based off of the survey and maybe your own input on what does next steps look like. If there's areas of concern that council feel that need to be addressed, then that's something that I can start reviewing and bringing pricing back for our 2026 budget. So we can get it included in the budget on if it's streetlights, are they gonna be attached to the hydro, either RSL or Hydro One, or are they gonna be solar? Solar might be the way to go, and it's just a simple installation of an arm to an existing hydro pole with hydro's permission, or does a new hydro pole need to be installed in that said location? So that's kind of the direction that we're looking for, and I can answer any questions which you may have at this time.
Yeah, thanks, Director Hyman. Thanks for the 83 plus participants that answered the survey. It's always great to get feedback and get comments as well. So might as well ask it now because the deputy's going to ask it. There was a few areas we kind of called out, prelude to the survey that we thought we might need. Are they on the list or the radar? Those were Deputy Mayor, County Road 18 and the where the Elba, like County Road 18 and where the mailboxes are. That was one area, right? Marcellus Road, thanks.
Road,
Yeah, thanks. That was one area where I think we had identified interest in for sure to do something there. So I'd like to see that at least in a plan for next year. And then maybe a few of these. I'm not sure what the councillor feel like. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Broad, and thank you for the report. Also, thank you for everybody that participated in the survey. One of the things that I always caution on surveys is sometimes the interpretation of the question. And when I reviewed the questions, it seemed to be pretty straightforward. I think there might have been a miscue on the light pollution because the design of today's lights, it doesn't really give a lot of pollution in a broader sense. It's more of, direct lighting to a roadway system. So, but I do appreciate the report, and you're correct. I mean, I brought this forward some time ago, and as I'm always about safe streets, speeding and street lights. I mean, there's no doubt about it in today's world that there is a lot more walkers and there's a lot more bicyclers and cyclists, same thing. People out and about walking their dogs at night and dusk and dawn. So I'm all about enhanced lighting throughout. If I was to have a preference, I think what I would do I would start with a area with no lights, which would be Elma. And then I would create and I would say a 4 to a 5 year plan on closing the gaps in other areas. So then that way, that way the cost is spread out. It's just like your road needs study. It's kind of a street light study, and then we just identify the different areas and we just start closing the gaps. And whether that's 10 lights per year or 8 lights per year, or maybe one year it's 15 because we want to do, again, I'll just pick where I live, a Marai town, but then maybe there's another area in Dunbar that only needs additional 3 lights, and for instance. So I think what we should do is move forward with planning for 2025 to get the lights in Alma installed, and then from there, let's start closing the gaps in the other hamlets would be my preference.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, makes sense to me. Councillor Ward?
Yeah, I agree with the deputy mayor. I think that's a great plan. I think start where there is none, and then, like you said, plan just like that, and we can financially try and afford it a little bit more that way. So I'm good with that as well.
Yep, Director?
So one of the areas identified, and I'm just looking, this is a conversation.
Sure.
Golf Club Road, Dr. Miller Drive. Dr. Miller Drive is a rural road.
It's gotta be low priority, right?
So that's where,
Yeah,
if we throw them on Dr. Miller, we're opening up to every road that we have in South Dundas. And I don't think that's the intentions of this. So once we address Marcellus Road at the community mailbox and maybe a couple
Yep.
throughout down to,
Yeah, the next road to.
Bouks
the
Hill
next,
Road.
Bouks Hill
Bouks Hill
Road,
Road.
then we've kind of encompassed that area,
Yeah.
right? Then we're going into areas that have lights already installed. Bridlewood Court, there's already lights on each corner, so to be putting them in the middle of each corner. So then, at any point, like, is Dr. Miller and is Golf Club Road on a radar? Would that be considered a radared area going from Island Park to the golf course, which then is Dr. Miller beside it? Because then there's pole installations and then there's numerous other, is that kind of the program that you're wanting to see? Or is that,
I'll throw out my idea. I think the first couple of years, let's fill in where there's people already walking, right? Where there's lights and maybe we have some gaps. Let's focus on that before we get into, I know in the comments, folks that say, oh, they love to walk on that road, but that's a big stretch and a lot of lights, right? Where we have lots of other walking areas. So let's fill in where people are walking.
Where they're walking through the shadows.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe that would be first steps, right? Does that make sense, Deputy, for your?
Well, it does, and I guess further to that, I mean, we don't need to be focused on the higher level streetlights as well. Maybe there's some areas that we could put low pedestrian lights that will serve the same kind of purpose, because it's for pedestrian activity. So I don't know, maybe that's something we could explore as well. Again, just to fill in some of the gaps, that it protects the people that are walking. It gives enough light for them to be seen. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need the high street lights as well. So I think, Jeff, where we're going with this is there's probably a bigger discussion to be had on priority levels. And I know some people may be, not as happy if it's not a priority level, but we got to start somewhere. Again, let's just maybe pull a program together, or maybe we can think our way through this one a little bit. I'm not sure if Councilor Ward wants to.
Yeah, well, we could,
weigh in,
let's
but
get
let's,
the Alma ones going for 2025. Let's put in the budget for 2026, 10,
yeah,
right? In 2027, 10, like put in the budget. And then when we can come back and determine, hey, these are the areas we want to focus on more. Now that we've got the survey results, so we can actually spend a little more time, like Councilor Smith does, driving some of these streets, and we can take a look. And as winter time's coming up too, and that's going to be a better observation for us, right? Because you'll be able to tell easier than 11 o'clock at night in the summertime. Councilor Ward?
Do we have a streetlight policy right now? No. So maybe we should ask for that to come back. And then as part of that policy, maybe just look at what means there needs to be streetlights. Like, what does that look like? Like, based on your expertise and maybe looking at other areas, like when does the streetlight get installed? Is it a safety issue? Is it a walkability of a community?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it would help us kind of, we already gave feedback on the ones we think you need to do, but the other ones that you're asking for more feedback on, maybe you can kind of come up with I don't want to say a sliding scale, but a scale of importance based on funding that's available. That's just kind of is that okay? Like, would we like to see a policy?
Yeah, no, we should definitely have
absolutely.
have a policy, yeah. Yeah, for Councilor Smith?
Yeah. So through you, Mayor, do we have a policy right now? No, there is no policy right now, but streetlights that are out, do they get fixed? Are the first ones that should get done the ones that obviously are there? So after that, we should go identify areas that already have poles in place that we could very rapidly, cheaply get a lot up for the minimal.
I can let Director Hyman answer, but whether there's a street light out, you know, call in or go on the website and indicate it's out, or if we're doing any tours, we indicate it's out, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, then we, you know, we don't fix one at every time because we had to hire the company, so we wait till we have 4 or 5, bring them in. Could be a simple fix that day, or maybe we need parts, right, that we didn't have on stock, so sometimes they take longer, but I'll let Director Hyman, if he wants to expand. Is that basically capturing the process?
No, that's exactly right. So if a light's out, a resident's more than welcome to call the office and give the location of where the light's out. At that time, then an email is sent to our streetlight contractor, the location and light not working, and then he comes out and either he has to order a new head, or it's a quick fix with a fuse, or there could be numerous issues. And then we close off the, I hate to use the word complaint, but we close off the complaint is essentially what it is. And we wait for the next call to come in. So it's not that we're delaying. Sometimes it's supply chain, getting the parts. We've had great luck so far with solar heads, because you don't need Hydro's approval. You need their approval to use their pole, but it's just a matter of installing the arm and putting the solar head on. Like I think that's the way to go. Ideally is with the solar head, and it's just quick and easier. But any new pole that gets put in the ground or any new installation will need the approval of RSL or Hydro, because we're utilizing their pole. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, that just doesn't happen overnight either. That's a timely process as well. So, but at least this is good direction for myself, and it'll give me something to work on for the 2026 budget.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, D, strategic plan mid-year update. Clerk LeBrun, CEO DeHaan.
Thank you, Council, and I'll start. Just want to say thank you to all the directors. We had a good session recently to kind of go through the accomplishments that collectively we've achieved within the municipality. I know the strategic plan was really officially adopted in February of this year, but that what we're presenting right now represents kind of work we've done through this term as we've understood the strategic priorities of council. Also want to give a big shout out to Clerk LeBrun for all the hard work that she did doing all this work. I know I get to sit up here and take some credit, but the reality is she deserves all the credit. So I'll turn it over to her to walk through the report, and look forward to the feedback and just confirmation that what we're looking to do in the future continues to align with council's direction and our strategic plan. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Ben. So good evening, everyone. It's funny to be in front of you instead of beside you, but so we're really pleased to bring our mid-year review of our 2024-2028 strategic plan. And we're hoping to showcase some of the substantial progress that we've made towards becoming the destination of growth and well-being, and fulfilling our mission of connecting land and water in South Dundas, where we grow, create, innovate, deliver as a happy, healthy community. So our first pillar is operational excellence. We've seen some remarkable transformations through our digital modernizations, and we've modernized services, our service deliverables, with several key implementations. So some examples of that, examples of digital improvements that have streamlined our operations and enhanced our community access, our electronics bylaw complaint system through Cloud Permit. We have online digital burn permit system. Community Connect that fire uses. This is the system that we use that residents can use to share important information regarding their property and the occupants of their homes or businesses. We have an online marriage license processing portal, and then Recreation uses Perfect Mind for online registration and for programming. Internally, we've implemented some patrolling software referred to as Mesh. And this is a software that the roads department use for routine inspections and work orders. And Rec is also jumping on this platform for some of their work orders as well. We're updating alarm systems, thermostats, and building controls at various facilities. We've implemented first due records management for fire. We now have a health and safety electronic workplace inspection process. We do electronic timesheets, and we do online HR training through HR downloads. And this year we also implemented voice over IP. So our phone system has improved a lot compared to what we had before. So another pillar, or I should say initiative, is our business continuity and emergency preparedness. So we've strengthened our emergency preparedness through cross-training. We have our fire prevention officer being trained as the alternate CEMC. We're updating communications protocol, which the chief touched on earlier today in a previous report. We've done fire radio upgrades. We've implemented joint training initiatives with neighboring municipalities, for a few examples. For staff development and recognition, we've invested heavily into our team through professional development opportunities. We've started a very popular summer barbecue series where departments take turns hosting lunch barbecue, and it went from continued to one up each other. So it was a really popular internal staff kind of recognition that we started this year. We also do our Years of Service Awards, and we're working on modernizing our performance evaluation system through an update of our personnel policy, which will come later this year. So our communication enhancements, there's a lot of data in here, but the point is our digital presence has grown significantly with our website reaching over 36,000 users. The most viewed pages on our website are garbage and recycling, the contact us page, and recreational programming, and certainly indicates something that our community members care about a lot. Social media engagement demonstrates very strong community connections. We have nearly 2 million page views, 6,144 Facebook followers. We have 1,500 and some followers on Instagram, and our LinkedIn and YouTube pages continue to grow. We've also published 484 social media posts, 14 e-newsletters, 13 media releases, and we've maintained consistent communication through the leader and advertisements. So for record management and long-term capital planning, some examples that we can talk about are we've completed our asset management plan. We brought back our levels of service plan. Our roads need study is in progress. Our biannual bridge inspections, yeah, I got that right. We've conducted a fire master plan, rate capacity study, and all these are to ensure that we're having sustainable infrastructure management for years to come. So our second pillar of our strategic plan is a growing connected community. And it focuses on building stronger community connections and has, again, delivered some pretty impressive results. We've made significant investments in gathering spaces, including future cenotaph enhancements, commemorative plaques such as the Dutch Meadows plaque unveiling. We've improved signage for our community partners, such as the UEL, which is, you can see a picture of the sign up there. Of course, arena project funding and the very exciting Youth Wellness Hub development. So, and not to exclude the Iroquois Plaza enhancements and the Iroquois Ball Diamond revitalization have also improved our vibrant spaces for the community. And here's just two examples of the work the youth working group is presenting at a local school. And you can see some of the construction happening at our the building in Iroquois for the Youth Wellness Hub. So those are well underway. Under increased municipal programming, Community engagement has increased substantially through our youth working group, our newly established cemetery advisory committee, which has been fairly active considering we're 2 months in. I think we've met 3 times, and expanded our external agency partnerships, for example, with Happy Face Daycare, the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA partnerships, and our event attendance and program registration year over year have increased, and it certainly demonstrates our community's vitality. So process improvements have also been have made through our development team meetings, which are internal meetings that we have bi-weekly, where staff gather all together and we go through the big developments and our big files for the community. As I mentioned before, we have a comprehensive asset management plan. We've been proactive in our construction planning through our development team meetings. We're looking at joint procurement, and we are regularly meeting with our utility coordinators such as RSL and Hydro One. We're looking to implement cloud permit for building permit software, so that right now we use it for bylaw complaints, but we're looking to expand that so that people can submit their building permits online through the cloud permit software. And this will include a pre-consultation process for complex development. Doctor recruitment efforts, youth, adult, and senior recreation programming remains a large focus for the recreation, including the Youth Wellness Hub. I know I've mentioned that a few times, but it's an exciting one. So under environmental stewardship, we've established an environmental committee. We have received, I think, 5 applications so far. So we're happy with what we're receiving. We're installing EV chargers. We've eliminated industrial IC&I waste at our landfill. And we've partnered with SNC South Nation Conservation for tree planting initiatives. And these actions demonstrate our commitment to environmental stewardship. So under our business support framework, which is another initiative, so through our CIP program, we've received 4 applications with 3 approvals, with projects totaling $7,366 in investments. And our economic development and community committee has coordinated the pop-up shops. They've advocated very strongly for improvements to our cycling path signage, which the signs are ordered and we're getting ready to install in the near couple months, I would say. And they're very busy planning the awards gala to celebrate local businesses and volunteers. And our last pillar for sustainable and dynamic growth, there's a number of things to touch on here. We've advanced our consolidating zoning bylaw. We've completed, or we're in the process of completing, I guess, our development charges study. We've conducted growth studies through the counties, and we've implemented official plan amendments for settlement area boundary expansion with updated subdivision guidelines. We've also completed a surplus property review to maximize municipal value while also supporting potential development opportunities. Our growth corridor development, our partnership with the St. Lawrence Park Commission, our partnership with North Dundas, and the focus on the 401 transportation corridor, combined with provincial lobbying efforts and regular utility meetings, have positioned us strategically to be prepared for substantial growth. Our grant and funding strategy has delivered some significant results with successful funding for our fire department equipment, the arena not chairs, the Arena Stairs project, SLPC, so the water, wastewater expansion along the 2 down to Iroquois, it's not Iroquois, sorry, Ingleside, and Haldane Park improvements through the Ontario Trillium Foundation. I'm not sure if I'm missing any here, but those are some significant ones. So lastly, we kind of wanted to touch on some things that we are currently working on and we're looking forward to seeing come to fruition. So we're very close to getting the Matilda landfill hooked up to internet, which has been a long-standing request to have connectivity up there. We're centralizing our purchasing processes. We're looking at online payments so that residents can pay more online. We're looking at water meter upgrades, enhancing our regional collaboration. Our fire chief is looking at updating our emergency management policies. And we're expanding our AMPS program, which is Administrative Municipal Penalty System, which would help improve efficiencies internally when it comes to issuing fines. So this mid-year review is meant to demonstrate that South Dundas is not just meeting strategic objectives, but we feel we are exceeding them through coordinated efforts across all of our departments and strategic pillars. We're building the foundation for continued growth while maintaining the high quality of life our residents expect. Happy to answer any questions or expand on any of those things, or if there's anything I've missed.
Yeah, no, thanks, Clerk Arun. Thanks for the update. Certainly, what you don't capture though is all the day-to-day work, right? There's also roads that are plowed and water lines that are looked after and recreation programs that are ongoing as well. So day-to-day work, continuing to drive projects ahead, drive things on our strategic plan is great. Thank you to everybody that's involved, and thanks to everybody the work done so far. It's like I like to say, the ships we've got it steering, we're paddling. So let's just keep her moving faster and build her bigger as we go along. So thank you for that, and let's keep working on it, and let's keep bringing more things forward to continue to work on all the goals we've been thinking about over the last couple of years. So, any other comments or questions? Yeah, Councillor Ward.
Thanks, Mayor. So one, to echo your thoughts, thank you to staff for all the work that you have done this year. I know it's a lot of work, and I think we can continue to see our community grow for the better for the things that you have done. So thank you, all of you, to what you've done this year and what you've done the previous years as well. I just had one comment, if I may, Mayor. On page 230 of the agenda, there's item 11, talks about the fire master plan. And I want to be very clear, because I don't think council has adopted that plan, but this is indicating that it's being actively implemented. So I'm just want to be very much in the understanding that I'm a little bit nervous that we haven't approved it and it's being implemented. So I think it's supposed to be coming back to council for us to, okay, so if maybe we could just amend the report to reflect that.
Sorry, I was just looking through trying to find, you said page 2.
Page 2, oh, sorry, it's, yeah, so page 230. And it's
I don't
item
have a
11.
230.
222 in your agenda.
Is it 222? Okay.
Oh, mine's on 230.
Maybe they cut me out on a couple of these, that's why. I haven't been strong with some of my arguments.
Okay, I don't know. They're different on different packages, I guess, so. But it's item 11 under the first pillar. So looking forward to that being brought back, because I think that's a pretty big item that we need to still have discussions about. So that was the only thing.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Broad. Yeah, thank you for the report. I think it's key that it keeps coming back just to emphasize some of the stuff that we are doing and have done, but some of the stuff that we need to continue doing as well. I think that's a great importance. I think one of the things, and I just lost when you were talking about, and excuse me, I was just going up to councillors, the growth corridor development, where you kind of talk about the St. Lawrence Park Commission, you talk about North Dundas Partnership. I think one of the key things that we got to, I think I'd like to see us highlight is the collaboration with the counties, because I think we've and through Mayor Broad and myself and sitting and with the other council members, I think we've made great steps on and collaborating more with the counties at that level, whether it's tenders for the asphalt, whether it's through other avenues, development growth, and whatnot. I think we made good strides there, so it'd be nice to just see that highlighted a little bit. It's not a criticism, it's just something that I think it's important to note, because it's not only North Dundas, it's all of the townships throughout the counties, so I think that's just important
Yeah,
to
no,
to
fair point,
enhance.
that's good,
Yeah.
that's good. Yep. Oh, anything else to add? You guys are good? Okay. No, thank you, that's excellent. Looking forward to all the next steps moving forward. Okay, so last item on the agenda, which was 10C, Councillor Smith, communicated pet bylaw request for Applecrest.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Broad. So just quickly on this one, we got the email request to implement that bylaw, and so just to bring it out just into the public, it would be, in theory, it's a great idea, but we don't have bylaw that covers the weekend currently. So how are we going to police it? If we can't police it, if it can't be monitored, is there any sense in even moving forward with it? Does it even matter? I guess that's
Yeah, no, I think that's
the
why
question.
it was a consent agenda. It wasn't being recommended by staff because we already have bylaws in place that deal with the pets. This was just going to add more complexity to it. But if CEO Dahan wants to comment on it, that'd be great.
Yeah, so ultimately, you know, we did receive some, or council received some correspondence requesting this. So we do have a new bylaw for dog control. It does have some, and pardon the pun, good teeth in that bylaw in terms of enforcement. So we do have some capability, even if we're not there. You know, there's an expectation that dogs, regardless, you know, whether they are, all dogs have to be tethered if they're on, you know, in the public, on public property. So there is the ability to enforce, you know, if someone doesn't have a tethered dog, our bylaw enforcement officer doesn't necessarily have to be there to be able to administer a fine, and provided we have the right evidence to support an infraction of that bylaw. So there is that opportunity there. Certainly, if you know, we'd suggest that we, you know, use our current bylaw and trust that people that are participating are respectful and you know, perhaps there's, you know, I love dogs, my favorite animal, but I also appreciate, you know, a dog I wouldn't bring to necessarily a big public event where I recognize people might be, you know, just as a courtesy, and I would hope that most individuals would operate that way, but you know, ultimately, if they are there, they need to be well behaved, and that's the expectation. If they're not, we have the way to follow up from our end, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at that moment in time.
Councillor Reno?
Through you, Mayor. So will there be communication from South Dundas on this then, to let the public know that day, you know, if anything's like, I guess letting them know about our current bylaw and the teeth that it has in it and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of, like, we don't want to draw, if I'm being honest, don't want to like highlight. I'd almost, you know, respond back to the person that brought the information forward and suggest, you know, council considered it, we had a discussion about it, and here's kind of that process, like, and that goes back to the organizing committee of Applefest, and then we can go from there. But I don't, unless council deems it otherwise, like, I don't necessarily see the value of a large public communication, unless there's some need that council sees that we should go that way.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, thanks for bringing that forward, Councillor Smith. Thanks for the update. Okay. So, notice of motion. Seeing none, ratification bylaw. I have a motion, let it resolve that bylaw 2025-65, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters being dealt with resolution, be read, passed, and open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn at the call of the chair at 7:50 PM. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. So So as we bring our council meeting to a close for Wednesday, August 13th, just a few notes. So next week is the Association Municipalities of Ontario Conference in Ottawa. I and our team between Dundas and SDNG, we have 6 delegations. So going to be meeting with ministers from long-term care home, Infrastructure Ontario, Finance, Rural Affairs, Social Services, and NECDEV, Jobs and Trade. So we have myself and CEO Don, we have and everybody else included have a very busy week meeting with ministers. All our previous delegations have paid off to us, so let's continue to drive those forward. Congratulations to those that volunteered at 2 weekend. Great weather, so that was your first job, getting the weather figured out. Thanks to that. Thanks to everybody that participated. It was a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to Apple Fest and Harvest Fest, the next events, Matilda rec events here in the fall. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the Vicelli celebrating our years of service folks, but our summer students. So we've had a big number of summer students working for us throughout the municipality throughout the summer. So I just wanted to throw a thank you to them for their hard work and enjoy them going back to school, which leads me to my last conversation, back to school. So this is our last council meeting before back to school. That means yellow buses are going to be out on the road and kids walking sidewalks and crosswalks throughout our municipality. So be cautious, continue to drive safely, and let's look out for each other out there in the community. So with that being said, on behalf of the council team, wishing everybody something